This is James Luxon, delighted to be joined with Caoimhin Agyarko. Caoimhin, mate, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Bit tired. Just finished training there, so I'm exhausted.
I see on your Instagram you've been back home at the Holy Trinity, obviously where you had many a fight as an amateur down there. What's it been like, first of all, being back there?
Yeah, it's amazing to be back there. Obviously, I spent 14, 15 years there, winning numerous of titles for the club. So, yeah, it's always great to be back training Holy Trinity, and that's where I started the first half of this camp. So, I am back to Liverpool on Monday, but yeah, I was there tonight, and it's great to be up training in Holy Trinity and seeing all the boys and girls and stuff.
You mentioned back to Liverpool on Monday with Joe McNally. So, disclaimer to the listeners watching this, obviously we're recording this before the announcement was made, but once the announcement was made, this will be put out there. You are fighting on May 20th against Grant Dennis. First of all, fighting on a Katie Taylor undercard in Ireland. What's that mean to you?
Oh, it's an absolute honour. It means a lot to me. It's a privilege to be able to be part of a historic night. I mean, this will probably go down in the history books as one of the historic nights of Irish sport and history. Do you know what I mean? And to be a part of it, it's amazing. I thought I might be obviously out for this one, and I was a bit gutted that I was going to miss it, but thankfully I'm going to be back in time.
Have you fought in Ireland yet as a pro?
I fought in Belfast, my fourth pro fight.
Okay. And in terms of that, just what's it like to fight at home? Obviously, compare it to the rest of your fights. What is it like to be back home in Ireland?
Oh, listen, there's no comparison. Listen, it's great. It's great being able to fight all around the world and listen, fighting all these different cities in England. But to be able to fight back home, and I mean, I've only fought in Belfast once, and I plan on fighting there many times. But it was not back then when I wasn't even. I was only 4-0. Do you know what I mean? I was only getting started. So back then I had great support, and I remember the night like it was yesterday. And um, I just can't wait for May 20th because it's going to be a noisy night. You know what I mean? I've obviously built my fan base, and I'm 12-0 now, and a lot of the Irish fight fans know me. So it's going to be great to fight and perform in front of them.
You mentioned the very noisy night. The atmosphere is going to be incredible. You have shared cards with Katie Taylor previously, but obviously not in Ireland. Do you expect it to be something you've never experienced before?
Yeah, without doubt. I mean, the noisiest that I've probably heard from an Irish fan or from an Irish card was whenever I fought on the Common Wood, and I was the co-main event. I mean, the reception that I got then was outstanding, and I kind of sunk it all up and relished the moment. But it's going to be 10 times noisier in the free arena on May 20th, and I can't wait for it. It's a night that I've dreamed of my whole life. Do you know what I mean? Um, Packed out arenas in front of your home crowd. It's honestly going to be an amazing night.
You mentioned earlier on you didn't think you'd make it. You obviously had your surgery not that long ago. Just to play devil's advocate a little bit, is there a worry that you could be rushing back into it?
No, I wouldn't do it. My career means more to me than I know it's a historic night and one that like I said, I didn't want to miss. But I was being optimistic of thinking that I was going to make it, and then I said, right, you know what it is, I'm setting myself up for failure, and um, I don't really think that I'm going to be back. And then once I had the consultation with the hand specialist, and he says it's looking great, you can take the splint off and you can start punching with it. Once I started punching with it and it felt fine, then I knew then that um I knew then that I would be able to be on the show. Obviously, I didn't. I actually said to once I started punching with it, I mentioned it to my manager about being on the show, and he says, "Listen, I'll ask, but I'm not sure that. Listen, they might have the show already packed out." And it was actually Matchroom who rung my manager and said, "We seen Keevan's back punching with both hands. Would love to get him on the show." So, yeah, listen, there'll always be a worry in the back of my head. Listen, I haven't started sparring or anything yet, and but my hand's feeling great. I was training tonight and I was punching with it, and it's feeling fine. So I have no problems that it's going to be 100% on the night. I'll be obviously first couple of weeks of camp. I'll be making sure I'm not going too mad, but um, yeah, there's no problems at all. I've no worries that it's not going to be right for the fight.
And obviously, I mentioned earlier on at the start of the call, the fight is against Grant Dennis, a man you know very well. You shared a few sparring, a few camps with him. Just talk to me first of all about your time sparring Grant Dennis.
Yeah, listen, I used Grant Dennis for the Jez Smith fight, and we shared 3-4 rounds, 3-4 sparring sessions together. Very tough sparring sessions. We know a lot about each other. He was also out in Fuerteventura with me, sparring Billy Joe Saunders for the Canelo fight. And yeah, we became somewhat sort of friends over the last couple of years, and uh, he actually turned this fight down against me for my first fight with Matchroom. Um, but listen, this is business and it's boxing, and there is no hard feelings. I know his style, he knows my style. I know what he'll bring, and he'll know what I bring, and I think our styles clash, and it'll be a good fight.
Just how much can you take from a sparring session? We know the setting's different to a fight night, and obviously, fight night has a lot more pressure. The lights are on, etc., etc. But is there things you can take away from your spars for both you and Grant as well to put into fight night?
Yes and no. Yes, I believe that I know exactly what I need to do against Grant Dennis to win, without doubt. Listen, no disrespect to Grant Dennis, but it's a straightforward fighter. Do you know what I mean? He's a decent counter puncher. Not all that much aggressive fighter, even though he's got that stature. But I don't believe that in the when did I fight? I fought 2020, so it was 2023, 3 years ago. I sparred Grant. I don't believe in the 3 years that he's changed anything. Um, as were me now versus me against whenever I was getting ready for Jez Smith. I'm a completely better fighter, different fighter, more calculated, stronger, technically better. So I don't believe that he can change much. I believe that I can, and I have, and I believe that there is certain things that will have been able to take out of them sparring sessions and seeing him spar Billy Joe and whatnot that I'll be using in camp. And listen, maybe you never know, he might think the same. He may think that there's stuff that he can take away from the sparring sessions and be confident in. But we'll see on the night.
In terms of, you mentioned he was offered a fight with you previously, first fight under the Matchroom banner, and he turned it down. Does that show that he's not that confident in himself, or his team aren't that confident in him?
Um, I got that. Do you know what's funny? Because I was actually in the gym back home. I hadn't started camp yet, and or was I? I might have just come home for a couple of days, but anyway, I'd got a phone call and it was Grant Dennis, and I'd answered it, and I'd said, he went, "Oh, what's happening, Grant?" He says, "Did you ask for the fight against me?" And I says, "No, why?" He says, "Oh, I've just been offered to fight you." And I says, "Did you take it?" He says, "No." I went, "Why?" And he went, "I believe I could get more money." And I said, "Okay, no problem at all. That's no problem at all." And that's just the way the conversation went. Listen, I don't take much away from it. Listen, this is a business, um, first and foremost. So I don't. I think he would be very confident taking the fight against me. No, but he's probably fought better opposition than I have, providing he's come up short. Every time he stepped up, he has been beaten. But uh, I don't think Grant Dennis would shy away from anybody.
And come fight night, what are you expecting? Are you expecting to be able to stop Grant? Are you expecting to go a distance? What are you expecting from yourself for fight night?
I always expect the best Caoimhin Agyarko, and I always expect an explosive killer performance. And my last two performances, I've been very unhappy because of not getting the stoppage. I've got valuable rounds, knowing that I can do the 10 rounder, but I'm not here to do 10 rounds. I'm not here to go the distance. I'm here to stop people and knock them out cold. So I plan on stopping Grant Dennis. I plan on getting the job done inside the distance. I know Grant is very tough, and I know that he's game and he's fit as a fiddle. So I know he'll bring his A game, and I've got to be the best Caoimhin Agyarko on the night to beat him. So, um, I will be looking to stop it. Just every time I go into that ring, I'm looking to stop it. I'm looking to hurt my opponent. I'm looking to finish them within inside the distance, and that's just me, my fight style. That's the punch power that I believe in, and ultimately, I'm a prize fighter. I'm somebody who likes to put a show on for the fans. So especially it's going to be in Dublin. So my comeback fight, they're going to be labeling it as, and I want to come back with a explosive performance.
And just finally, Kevin, little prediction and how you see the main event going. Katie Taylor, Chantal Cameron, unbelievable fight. It should be, at least anyway. How do you see it going?
Katie Taylor, simple. I don't believe there's a woman that beats Katie Taylor. It's probably you're going to get my biased opinion because Katie's an idol to me, somebody I've looked up to, somebody I've trained, somebody who I think is one of the greatest, if not the greatest Irish fighter of all time, one of the greatest athletes of all time. That's how highly I regard her. So I believe no matter what Chantal Cameron brings on the night, we've seen it time and time and time again. Katie Taylor just has that dog, has that technical ability, this hand speed, the fighting spirit, the fighting Irish in her, and she comes through every single fight. As much as I hate to watch her in them brawls and battles and getting clipped, but she just does it. She's just got that fighting style and the fighting pride, and you'll have to nail Katie Taylor to the canvas to beat her, and especially to do it in Dublin in her home turf. You will have to nail her. So I believe Katie Taylor wins probably on points, and just uses her supreme superior boxing skills to beat her. I don't think it's going to be an easy fight any way, shape, or form. I rate Chantal Cameron. I think she's a very good fighter. But I just think Katie Taylor is more skillful than Chantal Cameron.
Fantastic. Well, Kevin, as always, all the best of luck. And I know we'll catch up before the fight, but all the best.
Perfect. Thank you, James.